Alright folks, Mr. Heiser here, ready to show us how to get started on the train body part here of the toy train project. So first thing I'm going to do is, looking at these dimensions, I'm going to draw like a backwards L shape here that kind of represents the body of the train, not the round engine part. And so looking at these dimensions, I can tell that it has a width of 5.5 and the front has a height of 0.875, looking at this dimension here, because again I'm following my extension lines for my dimensions. And I know that the width from here to here is 1.75. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to create my 2D sketch. I'm going to use my line tool. I'm just going to quickly draft this out. Use my constrain tools. Alright, and so again, I know the width is 5.5. I know, straighten this out. I know this height here is 0.875. And I know that this is a width of 1.75. I don't know the total height here, so I'm just going to make this really tall for later on when I'm going to be cutting it out. Alright, so now I can finish the sketch, and I'm going to extrude this to a depth of 2 inches. And that gives me something to work with to start. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, going back to my drawing, is I'm going to make this round engine block part here. And I can tell that the center point of it is 1.375 inches up from the bottom, and that the arc has a radius of 0.75, and radius is half of diameter. So I'm just going to draw a circle over that center point of a diameter of 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to come back here, put a sketch plane on the end. I'm going to project the geometry. I'm going to put a point tool on here, and that point is going to be centered, so make this 1. And again, a height of 1.375 inches up. And I'm going to put a circle over that point, a diameter of 1.5 inches. I then need to trim the bottom of that circle off. And so now I can finish the sketch, extrude, and I want this to go the opposite direction the whole distance, and that is how I create that. Alright, so now I'm going to put a sketch plane on that part again, put a project geometry, because I need to put the 3 holes on here now for my cow catcher. Okay, so I have 3 points. Let's get the dimensions. Alright, it says that these bottom holes are 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom, and they're 3/8 of an inch in from the sides. So I can dimension that. Alright, and the top hole I know is going to be centered, and it's down a distance of 5/8. So I can finish the sketch, and these holes, if I follow the arrow, the extension line here it's called, it's a diameter of 0.125, 1/8, and it's in a depth of 1/8. So I can create a hole, make sure it's a flat drill point. The depth is 0.125, and the diameter is 0.125. And hit OK. And I now have my 3 holes for my cow catcher in the front. Alright, so next I'm going to put a sketch plane on the side and project the geometry for the conductor's seat, or front of the train, or looks like where the person would sit to drive the train. I'm going to start by drawing a circle on here. What's the diameter of 1? And if I go back to my drawing, I can do that because if I look right here for this arc, it says that the radius of this arc is 0.5, which means the diameter would be 1. And at the center point here is 1/4 of an inch in from the right side, and it's 1.75 inches up from the bottom. Alright. So from the center point to the side, 0.25. From the center point to the bottom, 1.75. I'm then going to use my line tool and zoom in, and from the top of the square extend out, from the bottom of the square extend out, and I'm going to use my trim tool here so I can now finish the sketch, extrude and cut that shape out entirely, and I now have that groove. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is put a hole on the back side here. So I'm going to use a point, and going back at my drawing, I can see that this hole is centered 3/8 up from the bottom, and that it has a diameter of 0.25 and a depth of 0.5. So I'll center this and bring it up 3/8. I can now finish the sketch. Select hole, and it goes in a depth of 0.5 and a diameter of 0.25. And there it is. So now let's get our arc on top. So I'm going to put a sketch plane on here. I'm going to project the geometry, and I'm going to use the arc from a center point here. So if I go back to my drawing, it says from the center point here the radius is 2.35 inches. So I can get on this center point, extend out 2.35. I'm going to draw my arc across here. I'm going to trim this, and so I can now finish the sketch, extrude and cut this top off, and that's how I create that. Alright, so I believe, going back to our drawing, we just have 5 more holes to make. Alright, so we can go back and put a sketch on the side and project our geometry. I'm going to put 2 points on here. And looking at our drawing, the holes are a 1/2 inch up. And the back one is 1 inch from the back, and the front one is 4.5 inches from the back. Simple enough. So I'm going to dimension these up 1/2. And from the front to the back, 4.5. From the back to the back, 1. I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm going to select the hole tool. And these holes, let's see, are 1/4 of an inch diameter, 20 UNC through 2. Okay. We're going to make this a diameter of 0.25. And we're going to go in 1/2. Hit OK. We're going to do the same thing on the other side now. Alright, finish the sketch. Hole. I'll leave that as is. Alright, and that's that. Last thing we need to do is put the hole in the top. So I'm going to hit plane here and open my origin folder and select my XZ and place this right on top here. And I'm going to put a sketch plane on this top surface. And I'm going to project the geometry here. And I'm going to place a point down the middle and dimension it so that it's in the middle. And this would be a distance of 5/8. And then going back to our drawing, from the front to the middle is 0.875. So I can now finish the sketch, select hole. This hole is going to be a diameter of 0.5 down 1/4 of an inch. And that's it. And then don't forget to turn off the visibility of your work plane by right-clicking on it and unchecking visibility. And that is